This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC Vegas 62, Grasso versus Araujo. Should be a pretty good card. We're going to talk about most confident picks, the lock of the week, dogs, props, and the parlays. Slight little shift to the show with the most confident pick section as opposed to calling them all locks. But then we're going to cap it off with the singular confident pick, most confident pick, lock of the week. Looking forward to this one. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. We will start it off with this most confident pick section. First is going to be Alonzo Menifield at minus 220. I think he has a really good chance to beat the one-armed Misha Cirkunov here. If you look at Cirkunov's left arm, it's completely atrophied. Alonzo Menifield's a pretty physically strong guy, good knockout power. His boxing skill set is decent, solid takedown defense. He's definitely improved his offensive grappling skills also. I think he's going to have a big advantage in the punching power in this fight. Also being, I think, more in his prime. I know Cirkunov and him are only a year apart in age, but Alonzo Menifield is more in his MMA prime. I feel like Cirkunov, I don't want to use the word washed because he's still fairly competitive in fights, but he's not in the peak. And he was just at 85. He's now rebuilding, trying to go back up to 205. I think Menifield gets him here by knockout. I'm kind of thinking we'll see it in 2 rounds or so. As far as the knockout prop for Alonzo Menifield, it is sitting at plus 125. I do think there's a good shot that he does get the KO in this fight. A very confident pick in Alonzo Menifield. Next of these very confident picks, Pete Rodriguez, who's minus 750. It's an unfortunate line, but it's a sensible line because he's fighting Mike Jackson, who's not a full-time MMA fighter. Pete Rodriguez, I think, is going to dig to the body here. I think he'll work very good hooks. I feel like 3-4 minutes in, he'll get the TKO of Mike Jackson, who I think early on might look okay. Like talking about like really early on, the first 2 minutes of the fight. As the fight wears on, I think he'll break down. I think probably weathers when he's against the cage. You'll see Pete Rodriguez rip good shots from there and break Mike Jackson. I'm thinking KO, TKO. As long as Pete Rodriguez doesn't eye gouge or nut shot Mike Jackson, he should be on his way to a dominant win. 1 round. I think it's going to be a destruction here. We're riding with Pete Rodriguez. I'm saying KO as well for the prop, but the line for knockout is not all that good looking. It is sitting at minus 215. But I think it's very likely he does get the KO at minus 215. As wide as a money line play that he is, it makes sense that he'd be super wide in the KO aspect too. I mean, maybe you round prop it here with this one. If you look at Rodriguez in first round, minus 165. Rodriguez by KO in first round, if that's available to you, is actually at minus 140. That's the best play you could get. I think he's getting a first round KO over Mike Jackson. This fight should not be competitive in the slightest. Next is Joanderson Brito at minus 360 over Lucas Alexander. From what I've seen of Alexander, I think a pressure striker who hits with a lot of power and has a tricky submission skill set like Joanderson Brito will give him a ton of problems, especially on short notice. I think Brito wins. Now, he's a wide favorite at minus 360 money line. I do think Brito has a shot to get a finish here within the first 2 rounds, especially. Brito to win inside of the distance is at minus 150. Do we have any official Brito prop right now? Only inside of the distance is available, which is super unfortunate. I know it's a late notice edition fight, but watch out for that submission prop because I think that could be a quality play. We'll talk about it on the weigh-in recap show. I'm loving Joanderson Brito money line. He's a very confident pick, and I think he's going to look dominant against short notice replacement Lucas Alexander here. We're all over Brito. Next is Victor Henry over Rafael Assunção. Listen, Assunção is past his best days. We all know that for a fact at this point. Victor Henry is going to be an interesting fight for him. I think that Assunção is going to get touched up from range. I think he's probably going to get stopped here. I think Henry will land good straight punches. I feel like the range advantage is a factor. Overall, it just seems like Assunção isn't able to put it together striking anymore. It seems he's very worried about being hit with hard punches, and Victor Henry is going to touch him up. I'm thinking KO TKO in the second round. Now, minus 385 money line for Victor Henry is not a great tag, but if you're looking at Victor Henry to win KO TKO, you still got plus money. It's plus 200. That's a sneaky prop that I think could be a casher in this matchup. Now, I am going to give you guys my lock of the week. Askarov. I love Brandon Royval, but the more I sit down and watch tape on this fight, the more I look at this matchup, I just think Askarov has the perfect style to deal with that chaos. Royval is a chaotic fighter. He's very dangerous with his unorthodox style and like unexpected attack, whereas Askarov is a pretty steady fighter. He has a consistent game that he does. He's more of a guy that's going to go out there, win competitive or even dominant decisions. I feel as though Royval will look for probably some type of spinning attack at moments, which will set up Askarov for body lock takedowns. I think Askarov can wear on him against the cage, and if Askarov gets on top, I don't think Royval has a submission threat from the bottom to work against an Askarov. Askarov is going to be lock of the week, minus 250. I know it's not a great tag, but it's got to be the lock of the week for me. As far as the prop on this one, I do think we're going long here. Askarov to win via decision is still plus money. It's plus 145. Maybe something to consider there. I like that Askarov side getting it done by a decision as the lock of the week. Now, let's jump to the dog section. If you guys haven't, make sure to smash that like button. And let's talk some underdogs for this UFC Vegas 62 card. Now, dog number one, and I will say this, I'm going to do in true order of confidence. This is least confident dog. It's going to be CJ Vergara over Tatsuro Taira. Yes, Taira is an extremely dangerous, unbeaten prospect. I think Vergara could be a fair match for him and edge him out on a competitive decision. Banking on a competitive decision, not always a great idea. Banking on the O, going for an undefeated prospect with the momentum like Tatsuro Taira, who's super young too and constantly improving. Very dangerous move. But ultimately, I do think CJ Vergara has the style to give Taira problems. I don't see him getting finished here. I see these two going long. I see Vergara edging him by a split decision. Now, he is quality plus money if you're riding that side of Vergara, around plus 185 as the dog. If you're looking to prop things up on the Vergara side, I'd push you all towards decision, but ultimately I actually don't like the prop here. I'd rather just go money line. It's plus 395 Vergara to win via decision. The next of the underdogs, the confidence a little bit higher here. This one is going to be Sam Hughes over Piero Rodriguez. I think Sam Hughes can surprise a lot of people with a smothering ground game over the unbeaten Piero Rodriguez, who in my opinion wasn't super impressive in the debut over Kay Hansen. I think that an experienced girl like Sam Hughes can give her problems on the floor. On the feet, I'll favor Piero Rodriguez, but she doesn't have that fight-ending power to keep Hughes off of her. How will she deal with that pressure grappling attack? I think she'll succumb to the pressure. I think Sam Hughes gets a win by decision. Moneyline Sam Hughes is plus 135, but Sam Hughes prop, if you're looking to ride out, maybe decision for Sam. She's sitting at plus 240. Prefer the money line, but I do think Sam Hughes winning by a decision is the most likely outcome here. Now, I would say, second of the most confident dogs, I like Cub Swanson a lot here over Jonathan Martinez. I do think he wins the fight. He's a confident prediction, but there are some concerns that are keeping me away from having him in that number one spot. It's going to be the weight cut. He's sitting at plus 165, which is a great line for a guy as good and experienced as Cub Swanson. Granted, Jonathan Martinez game, the more natural bantamweight. How will Cub look on the scales? We'll find a lot out Friday, so stay tuned for the weigh-in recap show. I look forward to seeing this one after they face off. I want to see how Swanson does with the scales. Does he even make weight? I'm assuming he'll be on point. He looked very good in recent pictures I've seen through the Instagram. I think he's going to be ready to go. Ultimately, Jonathan Martinez is a great first test at bantamweight. If he can pass this test, I see ranked competition up next for him. Jonathan Martinez is a tricky guy to fight. Very good kickboxer. Really dangerous with his low kicks. I think Swanson has a clear-cut advantage with the hands that he will take advantage of. Method of victory, I lean it decision. But if Cub Swanson was able to knock out Jonathan Martinez, I would not be super surprised. I don't love the idea of playing Swanson by decision. It's sitting at plus 390. Swanson by KO, which is much more of a Hail Mary, is plus 550. We'll pick Swanson for the win as a dog. Now, the number one dog of the week. As crazy as it sounds, I'm shocked that he's my number one dog of the week, but I just have a very good feeling about him this week.
It's Jordan, the Beverly Hills Ninja Wright.
It's Jordan Wright at plus 160. I've been a doubter of the Beverly Hills Ninja a lot. Offensively, he's super dangerous. He rocked Bruno Silva bad in their fight. But as far as his defense goes, it's very sus. Problem for Duško Todorovic is he's not a devastating puncher. He doesn't have a great stand-up game. He's extremely hittable himself. I think Jordan Wright will find a ton of success with straight punches. I feel as though Duško has to wrestle here. Even though the fight with Marc-Andre Berrios didn't last long for Jordan Wright, he was doing extremely well in the grappling positions, so much so that I'm confident he can fend off takedowns by Duško Todorovic and stun him with punches. Todorovic, I think, gets caught with either a straight closing distance, trying to get inside. I could see maybe an elbow trying to take the game out of the Chidi Njokuani book for Jordan Wright. I just see Jordan Wright finding the perfect shot on Todorovic, especially in that first round. Now, of course, if Todorovic is able to consistently land some takedowns, we might be in a bit of trouble. Ultimately, though, I feel as though Jordan Wright has the takedown defense, and he's going to struggle more so, the most actually, against devastating strikers who have a decent defensive game and can also unload with power. I don't feel Todorovic has great defense. I'm not impressed by his punching power, nor his punching combinations. I find him as a mid-tier boxer at best, whereas Jordan Wright has a very dangerous kickboxing offense. We'll go Jordan Wright to pull off the upset. Jordan Wright by KO will be the prop that I'm liking most here. It is sitting at plus 300 for the Beverly Hills Ninja. And just for the fun of it, let's look at Jordan Wright, first round KO, plus 600. It's a Hail Mary, but I do think it's one that we could take home with us. I like the Jordan Wright pick. Underdog of the week. Let's talk some props and value bets. I like Maximov and Malhoun over 2.5. I don't love the price tag at minus 270, but I am extremely confident. Two guys, how they match up going long is fairly sensible here. Both have subpar stand-up games. Maximov, though very slick with his submission, known for his, competition jiu-jitsu. You look at him in MMA, he's more of that grinding style, and is, I think, going to be extremely difficult for him to get a submission off of Jacob Malhoun. Malhoun is a grinder with his wrestling. I see it as a competitive fight. Official pick is going to be Maximov for the win, but I do think they go the full three. We'll go over 2.5, minus 270 as a potential play. The main event, Alexa Grasso and Viviane Araujo. My pick is Alexa Grasso to win. I like Grasso by decision at plus 130, but I don't love it, to be honest with you guys. At plus 130, it's okay. It's still a decent enough prop, and I see if Grasso wins that fight, which I predict she does, probably going the full 5 and her getting her hand raised by a decision. The next will be Leomana Martinez, Brandon Davis, over 2.5 rounds. It's minus 125 for that over 2.5. Both guys have been finished in the past. Leomana Martinez is a dangerous striker. Both guys are probably going to mix it up a lot on the feet, but I could see it as a bit of a chess battle and going longer here. Both guys really struggling to get each other out of there. I see Leomana Martinez winning the fight by a hard-fought decision. Brandon Davis is no easy out. I know you see the last fight. He got ran over in a round by Dana Batigrol, but Batigrol is an incredibly powerful puncher. Brandon Davis also just got caught early. The chin is a bit high, so it could be a concern if you're playing that over 2.5. Leomana Martinez definitely has finishing ability, but not near the power of Dana, in my opinion. Not near that level of pop. Doesn't have that same thud when he hits you. Dana Batigrol is one of the hardest hitters in that bantamweight division, especially unranked bantamweights. He's extremely dangerous. I like those props. I think those are probably fairly intelligent value bets to look at here. don't go too crazy with just a pure prop side. I know I also listed props for the dogs and the favorites, as I always do. So the prop section, more of an etc. section, just to give you guys a little bit extra. Let's jump to the final section, the parlays. Make sure you guys smash that like button, show some love. And if you're new, subscribe. Victor Henry, Joe Anderson Brito, Askarov, plus 125. That's parlay number one. If I had to throw down, that's the $100 parlay, I'll call it, for a near guarantee of money coming back at you. That's what I like more so than anything. Now, I also think Henry, Brito, Askarov, and Alonzo Menfield is a valuable play. Plus 230 for that one. I think that's another one where it's more on the safer side with these strong favorites that I'm feeling very good about. Worth a play. Potentially, you're getting that plus 230 money, but you are going over 4 fights, but 4 guys that I really do see winning. Next one will be mixing in a little bit of dog action. Askarov, Jordan Wright, so that's dog of the week and lock of the week at plus 280. You're getting better value than the 4-fighter parlay with the favorites. Yes, Jordan Wright is a guy that people will be worried betting. I think this would be something you would play more on the lighter side, but I do think it could come through. I mean, parlays in general don't go nuts with them, but this could be a casher. I think plus 280 is a valuable play on 2 confident picks here. Askarov, Jordan Wright, Alonzo Menfield. If you're adding Menfield in the mix for value reasons, I like him in as opposed to Henry or Brito, but you could include them as well. Plus 470 for that one. Reason I'm not including Pete Rodriguez in any of these parlays is ultimately just because it's a terrible line if you have Pete Rodriguez at minus 700. Ultimately, if he wins and you had him with like 6 other guys, you can get some great plus. It's just not optimal for some of these, more clean parlays, I'll call them, more humble parlays. Now, the next one, this is a wild man parlay. It's Sam Hughes, Jordan Wright, Cub Swanson, trifecta dog attack for plus 1,700. That's more of a Hail Mary. And now live, I am going to create one on the spot because I want to get some crazier plus money, and we're going to do as many savages as possible here. We'll go Pete Rodriguez at minus 675. Like I said, I didn't love playing him in the main few, but the one I make with you guys here, I want to throw him down on. So let's go Rodriguez, minus 675. If you want to add more, you go Victor Henry on top of that, Joe Anderson Brito alongside of that, Alonzo Menfield. We ride with Askarov. Right now, with all those fighters, that's 5 of them, we're sitting at only plus 280, so it's not great plus money. We're going to have to dig a little bit maybe into the dog section or some of these close money favorites. Let's say we did go for the close money favorites. Let's say you went with Alexa Grasso, who I do believe wins, even though she wasn't included as the most confident picks. I do think she gets it done. Just a very difficult fight against a game Viviane Araujo. Plus 458 for that one. You want the dog of the week in there. You go Jordan Wright. You're looking at plus 1434. How crazy are we going with this one? Do we throw Mana Martinez on the slate? Plus 2,423 if we have Mana in there too. I think this is the ultimate Hail Mary of the week right here. And if you go nuts and add Cub Swanson, you got plus 6,800. But there's definitely a chance that you won't even be able to get that good of a line. Let's run through it, though. It's Pete Rodriguez, Victor Henry, Joe Anderson Brito, Alonzo Menfield, Askarov, Alexa Grasso, Jordan Wright, Mana Martinez, and Cub Swanson. That's 9 fighters, plus 6,800. The true Hail Mary lottery ticket. Not suggesting you do that, and if you do, go very light with it because it's definitely risk territory, high risk and insane reward. Odds of it coming through, definitely on the lower side. It's the damn Powerball of MMA betting. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's best MMA bets. Let me know what you think of this format as opposed to more my typical format with the odds in the background. I definitely want to hear the feedback from the people, so let me know in the comments. Much love. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, everyone.